So with me is Rebecca Sartor from the Counseling Center of New England. What's happening in your profession for caring for others, and what does this crisis that's global provide as an opportunity for Counseling Center of New England to help our communities?
Yeah, no, I think it creates a lot of opportunity. So just to give a little overview, we have 18 locations between New Hampshire and Maine, over 145 clinicians, and when COVID-19 hit, we had to very rapidly figure out how do we care for those thousands and thousands of clients that we treat while we maintain access for people who still need help. And so we really rapidly transformed to 100% virtual care within a 2-week period, which I didn't think could be possible, but we somehow accomplished that. Clinicians adapted pretty well, clients adapted pretty well, and it's had some benefits too, because we can now see how we can utilize this in the future with adverse weather events, sickness, etc. But I think one of our biggest commitments right now, knowing how this situation is impacting themes of isolation, depression, anxiety, trauma, paranoia, addiction, we are really focusing on access to care and making sure that people can very quickly be connected with one of our psychiatrists or psychologists or therapists, and letting people know that it's a very normal thing, especially now, to be experiencing symptoms, and sleep disturbance is one of the biggest things we're seeing.
Okay, so if sleep disturbance, because symptoms are probably a great thing to focus on, because we don't always know we're having a problem until other people start to tell us we're not doing well. And so what kind of symptoms does somebody look for? We're all, telemed now is big, self-diagnosis to some degree. When do you pick up the phone? What symptoms do you guys look for?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think for many of our existing clients, they've kind of become experts on knowing what to look for when they're not doing well. But what we're seeing is people who have no history of experiencing depression and anxiety are starting to show signs. And so those could be sleep disruption, change in functional status, where you're just having trouble getting out of bed, you're having trouble getting things done, lack of energy, feelings of hopelessness or fear, I think, are cropping up a lot in this situation. And so what we don't want people to do is to live with those negative emotions or start to cope with them in negative ways. And so if you're seeing a change in your functioning, if you're seeing a change in the way you're thinking, the way you're feeling, sleeping, eating, anything like that, it's reach out early, because that's when it has the most impact. And just to reassure people, we're seeing over 1,000 new patients every month in the state.
And you have the capacity to do so.
We do, and we're growing. We're adding new locations, we're adding new providers, because we have a commitment to do anything we can to help meet the behavioral health needs of the communities we treat.
Right, and one of the things that I always ask in this kind of conversation with people is, now that we've had this crisis come, technology's been put to use overnight. You've made changes, rather, overnight to you, a week is a very short period of time to change an operation. As executive director, what have you seen? What stands out as the newest thing? What did you personally learn, or did your organization learn, that you can now do that previously might have taken forever to get set up? How do you and your clients benefit?
Yeah, I think, when we thought about easing into telehealth, we've been doing it for years in a lower capacity, but when we thought about expansion, you always got a lot of resistance from providers and from patients, because it's scary. It's scary to think about making the transition from being in an office to sitting in your home and doing things virtually. So I think what I call the rip the Band-Aid off approach really just kind of really forced everyone to say, I got to give this a try. I got to give this a try for the clients I treat, to keep my own employment. And the vast majority of providers and clients have really embraced it and said, hey, I think I want to incorporate some of this into my practice. And there's been kind of unanticipated positive things where you're seeing someone in their home setting, you're seeing their dog, you're seeing their favorite stuffed animal, And so it's given a lens that I think has increased the therapeutic alliance in a way we hadn't anticipated.
And not only are your providers embracing it because existing clients are comfortable, but does that make it easier for you as an organization to take on new clients, to decrease the turnaround time? You know, how do you stack up against other organizations in terms of responsiveness?
Yeah, I mean, so we have done anything and are doing anything we can to improve access. We've simplified our process, you know, people requesting a first-time appointment through our website. And so our goal is to respond within hours and to try to get that person booked as quickly as possible.
People shouldn't hesitate.
No, there's no need to hesitate. And in fact, I think that's where people get into trouble. And we all do that, where we kind of, you know, at one moment think, yeah, I'm ready to reach out. And it can be scary to reach out for help, but this is what we do every single day. And this is what our providers do. So the moment you start to feel like you need support, reach out. We are here.
And if you apply, you know, if you apply only one or two things from what you've done so far, what would they be?
I mean, I think reducing barriers to access and having multiple mechanisms to provide care, both virtually and office. So I think it is completely transformed permanently. Like the barriers that once existed weren't quite as big a deal because we weren't as worried about access or being flooded. And it's just definitely those two components. And I also think that providers and clients are going to just have a lot more gratitude for when they can sit in the office together and they can shake hands and they can, you know, just exchange the niceties that we normally do. I think all are going to have a lot more gratitude for things that seem so little. Really, to me, it's just getting the word out there about what these initiatives are and that we're here. You know, and also that I don't think everyone knows that we're under new leadership and that, you know, that I am really committed to trying to fill those gaps in the communities, to figure out who to recruit to meet those needs. I want to collaborate with community stakeholders. I want to look at, you know, partnerships that we might not have looked at in the past. So I think it's important too that people just know we're under new leadership. You know, we're part of this larger healthcare network of providers across the country, and we're really trying to provide the most compassionate, state-of-the-art, easy-to-access care possible.
Very good. And so from an experience standpoint, you are here in the community, you know it well, and providers are more actively looking or supporting the fast turnaround time, the needs of people around us. So thank you very much for spending some time with us here today. It's very much appreciated. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Keith.